I don't feel alone. We just settled in and it already feels like home.
You're listening to the Feels Like Home podcast with Mike Throne and Marty Ford.
If you're anyone who knows me, you know that I love the game of baseball. And when I moved to Chillicothe in 1997, before I even moved here, I went to a Chillicothe Paints game. And the Chillicothe Paints are our local summer collegiate baseball team. So college players from all over the region come and spend the summer in Chillicothe and play the game of baseball. Number one, because they love it. And number two, because they want to get better. And it is a great atmosphere at the Paints games. And so it's really an exciting pleasure for us to have Bryan Wickline, who is the managing partner of the team and a guy who has been with the Paints for nearly every moment of every game that they've played in the in either the Frontier League or now with the Prospect League. So this is our chat with Bryan about not only the upcoming season, but kind of reflecting back on those days and even the way he got started, which is a great story. So we hope you enjoy it. This is going to be a great time for me because there is no sport that I love more than baseball. And today we have, I guess you're called the principal owner?
I wear it all. So managing partner, president, general manager
of the Chillicothe Paints. Bryan Wickline's with us today. I have known Bryan Wickline since the day I hit Chillicothe. That is no joke, because I believe I was in the newsroom at the Chillicothe Gazette at like 11 o'clock at night and I think you waltzed in. This would have been I got here in mid-July, and I think you came in to talk to Doug Kimsey after a game or something like that. Mm-hmm. And there we were, and I remember meeting you. And
dude, I hung out there a lot.
Yeah.
I hung out there a lot in the evenings when I first started. Doug Kimsey, Jeff DeVeronica.
Yeah. Mark Sonka was there for a while.
Mark Sonka.
Yeah.
And those guys, I used to just come over after games and hang out for a little bit till about 1 a.m. and went home.
Yeah. And
make sure they got it all right.
No, and honestly, I like the guys. We just kind of hung out. I didn't have anything better to do.
That's the thing that I always used to tell people, because we always got some pushback from the Legion Ball people and things like that about, you cover all these Paints games, there's not that many people there, blah blah blah. And it's like, honestly, like, it was fun to cover the games. The teams were pretty good. I mean, you don't get to that many FL finals. Sorry. And
choke.
And, and not have a good team. And
no, for sure.
Guys
guys
like Mitch House and Gator and
Brandon.
Scott, like they were fun to watch and fun to, be around. So like, it was just a lot of fun. And I think, what I've always said about the Paints is it's really a treat for a town this size to have a team like that. Even if you're only talking summer collegiate, back when it was FL, it was a little different, but I think it's more fun now than it was then.
And I think the players make it more fun.
Yeah.
We have college kids now that, and Mitch House and those guys, they were fun. Gator and Scott Pannoni and the Brian Tolbergs of the world. And there were some good guys, but there were some guys that had chips on their shoulders. They didn't want to be here because they thought they should be in A, AA, whatever. But these guys, since 2009, these college kids, I mean, and we had some trepidation. I mean, we had fans. Hey, these kids aren't professional. What are you bringing here? We're gonna have a bunch of college kids. Not to even mention the under 21 issues and stuff. Right. But these guys, they play for the love of the game. They're gonna run out that ground ball to shortstop. Great kids, great to have in your house if you're a host family that can teach little Johnny, a little bit about the baseball, or little Annie about softball. I mean, it's just, these kids just love being here, and we're fortunate enough to, since we've been in the league, to draw the most fans. So that makes those kids want to come here, because it becomes a spread of, hey, I would really had a lot of fun back to their college buddies back when they go back on campus. Man, Chillicothe was fun to play in. Yeah. I mean, it was packed house. coaches were great. The fans were great. The host families were great. So we're fortunate. You're right. I mean, we have what, 23,000 people in the city, 75,000 in the county. We're fortunate to be able to keep what we had. And be honest with you, there's not a lot of people that, 2015, there was a crossroads of what was going to happen,
Right.
with a change in ownership. And, we were able to keep it here, thankfully for us and the city and the county and really the area. I mean, we draw 1,300,000, I think, within 7 counties, that we reach, and we draw from every county that touches Ross. And but yeah, if you were to buy a franchise today in the Prospect League, not let alone the Frontier League, you can't cover
Right.
the budgets in this. You probably would not go to Chillicothe.
Right.
And if somebody was to buy the franchise, they probably wouldn't keep it in Chillicothe, just because of the attraction of towns wanting to bring summer ball or something else into their facilities, that are probably newer and or can create new ballparks because of
Yeah, I mean,
it.
especially if you're like a college town that already has an existing facility that,
Correct.
if you're in Athens or somebody like that, you've got a first class facility. And VA is beautiful. It's nice, but university dollars have a different effect, right? So,
Absolutely. Terre Haute down in Indiana State.
Yep. So, let's go back a little bit, because one of the things that I love about you is that you're a local guy, went to Zane Trace, went to OU, and didn't flunk out.
That was because of Marty. Marty helped me. We went to school together.
We did go to school together. I was going to say, telling the story about like when we met, Bryan and I went to school together our whole lives. So he was a couple of years behind me, so we played a lot of baseball together.
Yep.
Yeah, good times back then. Go ahead.
So, and then you came back to work for the Paints.
Yeah. So the story goes, I went to Zane Trace and graduated from Zane Trace, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. I thought I might want to coach. Basketball was my sport in high school, and so I struggled with not playing at the next level for whatever reason. Obviously, I just wasn't good enough, and 5'9" guards are hard to come by in basketball. But so I got the chance to go to OUC for 2 years. And as I was kind of dabbling into what I wanted to try to do, I thought I was going to still be a coaching. I had a coaching major while I was here at OUC. And then I had to transfer to OU Athens to be able to finish the rest of my college courses, and stumbled on, it was called at the time, it's not anymore, but it was called sport industry. And so went to Athens for 2 years, but my junior year I needed an internship, and that was in 94. 93 the Paints had just started, and I'm gonna tell you, I went to, I don't know, the 4th or 5th game of the summer. Somebody that we all know, Randy Davies. I was working summer at Horizon, summer help at Horizon, and I was helping. I was on the line truck with Randy Davies, and I remember him saying he was going to go to opening night at the Paints. I'm like, what are you talking about? So he came back and said, oh man, it was fine. It was raining all night, but they had, and I was like, I'm gonna have to go check it out. Mike Strasball and Aaron Crabtree play on this team. And I played with them. I played with at OUC. I played with Straws, and so I went, and there probably wasn't 200 people there, and I thought, man, this thing ain't gonna last. I said, if Straws and Krabby can play on this team, I probably could play. We got 200 people in the stands. I said, man, I told the person I was with that night, I'm like, man, this isn't gonna last 3 years, and it ended up being, I don't want to pat it ended up being me as part of that making it stay. I needed an internship my junior year. I called the office. Roger Handers answers. And Roger, Chris's dad, who was the second officially the field manager, but he ended up being the field manager for a long time. And he was Chris Hanner's dad, and was in the Yankees organization. I'll never forget him talking about Mickey Mantle and those guys when he was in spring training. But he answered the phone. I said, hey, told him my name, and I said, do you guys take any interns? I said, I need some college credit. And at that time, it's not like that anymore. I got 16 credit hours. That was a whole semester of credit hours. And he goes, well, hold on a second. I'll have someone talk to you and see if we can help you out. And Shirley Bandy comes to the phone, and she was the general manager at the time. She was also in charge of the dental office for Chris. And she said, yeah, come on in, and I'll have you fill out some paperwork, and we'll get you going. And I'll never forget, one of the first things I ever had to do was she gave me the yellow pages and gave me a scorecard. And there were 10 blocks, empty blocks in this scorecard. And she said, I need you to try to sell these. And I think at the time they were like $100. And she said, let's see if you can. I had it done in a week, and stayed ever since. They offered me a full-time job after my senior year. I believe I was the youngest general manager in professional baseball in '96. I was 23, and just had different titles over the years. And 28 seasons later, I'm still here.
And did you ever think to yourself, like, I'll be the managing partner and I'll have to?
No, never.
I guess that's the amazing story of being the youngest general manager.
I thought Dr. Hanners would always own it, number one. And then when I left for a time, as we talked about before, so in 2011, so in the Frontier League franchise, we still owned. In 2009, we just couldn't play in Chillicothe anymore. We just couldn't cover the budget, so we tried to move the franchise. So we went dark for a couple of years, which means we just didn't play for 2 summers. And we were able to move it to Rockford, Illinois. Well, at that time, I was the only one that really could leave to go. I know everybody else had a family, and I was the only one. So I got to be the guinea pig to go to Rockford, Illinois. 500,000 people in the city. Beautiful ballpark that was just, I don't know, at that time, maybe 3 years old, right along the interstate. About 15 minutes from the Wisconsin border, about an hour and a half from Chicago. And I said, yeah, man, I told Chris, I said, this is a pretty good opportunity. I said, I think we can do pretty well here. Not knowing that there were a lot of bridges burned and things with the previous ownership that had a team there. So we was pretty rough for a while. And we just had the opportunity to come back. I met my wife in Rockford, Illinois at a game. And we had the opportunity to move back in 2015. So Chris has, I believe, 7, I don't want to mess this up, I think he has 7 grandchildren. And at the time he was like, dude, it's time for me to move on. He's starting to retire from the dentistry, from his dental office with Piketon. And he was starting to slow down a little bit, and he wanted to travel, and he was on the National Dental Board and the State Dental Board, and he was doing things like that, and he just didn't have the time to spend at the stadium anymore and oversee it. And he said, hey, what do you think? And I'm like, dude, I've got too much time, sweat, and tears into this. I said, let me try to put this together and try to keep it here. So was able to do that with a lot of local ownership and people that stepped up and said, we don't want the Paints to go anywhere. What we got to do to figure this out. So we were able to do that in 2015, and 6 years later, we're still going at it. And I'd like to believe that we're bigger and better than we've ever have. I will tell you that we utilize the stadium more than we ever have.
Yep.
When I came back, that was one of the things that I wanted to make sure we did, was to utilize the facility almost year round. We play 9 months out there.
Yeah.
With high school games and college games and adult softball in the fall, and so we're booked every day, and I don't have another open date until July 26th, and then after that it's in October. So we started doing 2 high school games a night out at the stadium starting in March, and we have travel baseball, and like you said, Legion baseball and things like that when the Paints are out of town. So it gets used a lot. That's what the turf is for. And we try to utilize it for the community as much as we can. We just had speaking of community, and Michael was there. Pickaway Ross just had their graduation at the stadium. First time we've ever had a graduation there. So we've had weddings. We've had a celebration of life there before. Never had a graduation.
Filmed a movie there.
We've had a couple movies. So yeah, it's historic. It was built in 1954 for the veterans that were out there, just to have a little recreation. And 1993, Chris came in and did all those improvements, and we've made improvements year after year. And like I said, we're getting ready to start our 28th season, and would have been 29th except for last year, but just ready to defend our title that we won in 2019.
That's right. So let's talk a little bit, since you just touched on it. I mean, obviously last year was a lost year for everybody. But I think one of the things that, we ended up getting a Major League Baseball season late in the year. But not having that outlet for me was difficult to go to a live game. I can't imagine what it was like for somebody like you that runs a baseball team and is actively involved in the league and everything else. Take us through a little bit of that. Is it a dark period for you? Is it one of those things where you just felt like you have to get through it? So
and we fought it, and as a league, as owners in the league, on the board of directors, we would have calls every 2 weeks starting in January, and we were like, okay, what are we going to do? Are we going to be okay? There's this thing that's supposedly going on, and then as March hit, and then we started getting the realization that maybe this isn't going to happen, and we kept fighting it, and I think it ended up being like the 1st of May before we decided, listen, there's too many questions. That's what really did it in, was what if, and we just didn't have the answers to them, and we just felt like it was the best thing to do, and it was the best thing to do, but it was tough. Man, it was tough. I can't believe that we didn't have Paints baseball or anything, just let alone just on, not by our doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not because the team wasn't there, not because it was this pandemic. It was crazy.
Yeah.
I planted trees for the first time. I mean, there was things that I was just trying to take up time. Now, when things started to open up a little bit in June, we were able to host some games in June and July, a lot of travel baseball. The biggest blessing that came out of all that was I got to see my kids play last summer.
Right.
Both of my kids play travel baseball, and I haven't been able to get to see them much. So I didn't miss any of my 15-year-olds at the time. Now he's 16, his games. He's on a pretty elite team out of Columbus. And then my 12-year-old at the time plays on a travel team out of Columbus. But that is the only thing that was positive that I really enjoyed, was being able to be at their games. But yeah, it was tough, and thankful for grants and PPP loans, and because honestly, I didn't think we were going to be able to do it. And I will tell you, there were a lot of sponsors that said, here's our money, or here is half of it, or here's 25%, or don't worry about it, carry it over to next year. Season ticket holders, hey, don't worry about it. We'll worry about it next year. Got us through it, because I didn't know how we were going to do it. I honestly didn't. And there was only 3 of us that were full-time employees, and I was a little worried about that, and just how we were going to just pay the utilities and things that we already had. Ross County commissioners were great about letting us carry over the lease to the next year. The rent downtown, Ed Kunzman and those guys, Tom White and Dr. Hanners, allowing us to carry some of that stuff that I'm very blessed to be able to do, because I don't know how we were going to be able to hang.
Yeah.
So we obviously fought through it with the great support that we have, and not just last year. I mean, we've been here. This is 28 years, man. We have a renewal rate of like 95% for our sponsors. I mean, it's crazy. People that are in bigger markets than us. And I mean, dude, how you do this? I mean, I'm just blessed. Number one. Number two, I live there. A lot of people know what we do and how we do it, and they just want to be a part of this. There's not a whole lot of things going on during the summer, and we're fortunate with that too. We're in that, like you said, we're in that little town where there's not a lot going on, but there is too. But there's still things that, and it's just makes it a kind of a unique situation.
Well, I think one of the things that you've locked in on that I think is really, really important is you have created an amazing family-friendly environment there. I can bring my kid and he can run around and, the little girls can go to the playground. He goes out and joins whatever pickup baseball game is out there next to it. And, I can go and go to the party deck and have a beer and a hot dog, and my wife can do the same. And we don't have to worry. You're not doing that at the Reds game. God bless them, but you're not doing it at the Reds game. You're not even doing that at the Clippers game. For goodness sakes. There's
times where we're the biggest one-night babysitter in Chillicothe. I mean, you'll see them. The parents will drop their kid off if they're old, 12, 13 years old. Hey, I'll be back at 9 o'clock, 9:30 to pick you up because it's safe. That's one of the biggest positives of being out onto federal property, out onto VA. It's safe. There's not many places that are safer out here.
Yeah.
We have a fence that goes all the way around. There's one way in and one way out.
Yep.
And you got to get through our security to get out, and we don't let anybody outside that's not 16. So it is safe. It is unique in that way. And but there's a lot of places, like you said, if you sit out on the deck, you can see the playground. You can see your kid if you need to. So kind of makes it unique too. But yeah, you're right. I mean, we try to be family friendly. Number one, we've always had an older fan base. We don't have a bunch of 15, 16, 17, 18-year-olds running around causing problems. I mean, it's a nice night out for your family, and you just kind of relax for 3 hours and enjoy yourself.
I think you've done a really good job too of giving back. I mean, you guys do the baseball camp every year. You're always very generous with Crazy Horse's time, sending him to events and things like that. And, I think that people appreciate things like that. The other thing I would say too is that it almost going to a Paints game is kind of like stepping back in time a little bit. You hear about these people that grew up in the 40s and 50s and 60s, and they grew up just walking to their baseball stadium, or their parents dropped them off and they stayed there all day or whatever. Like that's kind of the atmosphere that you have,
For sure. And I don't ever want to lose that. And you're right. We do a lot of appearances, player appearances. We'll do summer camps. We give back as far as we have 4-H night and scout night and things like that. Chief Crazy Horse going to different appearances. That is the Field of Dreams, where the kids will come out, their little league teams will come out and run out with the players. I think that's the coolest thing we still do.
Me too. Yeah.
And I think that kids have grown up out there that, man, I remember running out the third base with, whatever. We've had a lot of, and we've been around long enough now to where there's a lot of kids that grew up out there.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you that our new field manager, John Penn, he was 8, 9, 10 years old running around out there. His parents lived right down the street on 104. And so we've been around long enough that's kind of makes it cool too, that there's been a lot of people that have come back that were there as kids. Now they're adults with their kids coming back out there.
Baseball is kind of a unique sport in the United States that I feel like it is still similar to what like soccer is in Europe, where almost every community has its semi-pro or, some level of a soccer team to root for. And so those communities gather around and just really support those teams. And I feel like baseball is really the only sport left in the United States that still has that same feel. There's all kinds of levels of baseball being played at a semi-pro or pro level.
It's a regional. It's a
regional
yep,
thing, so it's really cool to see that. The question I wanted to ask you is: you watch a lot of baseball, Bryan. Do you ever find yourself? Do you ever get sick of it?
For sure. No, for sure.
Okay.
Absolutely. 100%. 100%. So I mean, yes. The answer is yes, but I mean, you know, there gets to be times where I mean I'm out there every night for high school games. About 9 o'clock, I'm ready to okay. Let's
Yeah.
home team's got to be winning. Home team's got to be winning. All right, we're gonna get out in about 10 minutes early now, and let's get one more run so it's a 10-run rule.
Yeah.
I think that in my head, but no, I there's no bigger fan of baseball than I, and I'm thankful that my kids get to play it at a decent level, and no, I for sure I tell you, I will tell you when the paint season is over. First week of August, second week of August, depending on how deep we go, I'm ready for it to be over.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm ready for it to be over, but for about a month or so, then we're ready to rock again. But for sure, when that last out is over, it's time to shut it down for a while.
Sure. I understand that. It's just Mike and I, that's one of the things that we share. We love baseball. Like I'm watching baseball games all the time on TV. We go out and, you know, catch a lot of Paints games. Both of my daughters love the game, and you know that's something that I enjoy. You know, I love talking
Absolutely.
baseball with my kids.
That's cool.
And neither of my girls played softball. They didn't like softball. They wanted to play baseball, and they were both big Cincinnati Reds fans. Obviously, huge Chillicothe Paints fans, and it's just fun. It's just that sport that sometimes some people don't. I have a friend who he just makes fun of it because he doesn't get it and doesn't understand
Absolutely.
it. But Mike and I talk about there is something magical. Like there's drama in baseball like no other sport. I mean, other sports have the drama, but we talk about there's so many crazy stories that you hear. Like going Cincinnati Reds, Michael Lorenzen gets his dad passes away that day, but he still plays. He gets to bat and hits a home run. Like you can't. Those are stories you cannot make up.
Absolutely.
There's some amazing things that happen in that sport, and so but. You see so much of it, and you probably see some really bad
There's
baseball
been
games too.
and there's been a lot of memories at the VA over the years, and Michael touched on it with a lot of the Frontier League Championship series that we were in, and then finally breaking through in 2010 and winning. That was freaking amazing.
That
I
was a
mean
great
that was nuts how we won.
Yep.
And then in 2019, how we win with being down 1-0 in this best of 3 series, and coming back and happened to win 2 at Cape Girardeau when. We end up winning a Grand Slam. I mean, it's just, I mean, you're right. You can't write those things. You can't make those things up. It happens, and it's just amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and even in 19, the way that season started, and of course, you know, every season's always a little tough to really gauge in the summer collegiate leagues.
Absolutely.
Because, you know, maybe the kids that you have signed aren't there yet because they're got commitments to their teams. You know, I know we usually have a lot of local kids that are playing early.
And that's going to happen again this year
Yeah.
because D1 doesn't get done on May 30th this year.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, we may not have them until the second homestand.
Yeah. Which then at least it will be after June 2nd.
Exactly. So we can take those masks off. I'm going to pretend it's May 27th, but it's okay.
Yeah. I mean, you know, really what it comes down to is I think we've always seen pretty good baseball out there. One of my great regrets is Andy Lee's no-hitter. On my birthday, I didn't go to the game. It was literally the only game I didn't go to that whole season.
Andy Lee.
And
wow.
threw a no-hitter that night. And I remember Kimsey calling me and saying, "You're never going to believe this." And it just blew me away, you know?
Yeah, that was a pretty wild night. And even off the field, I mean, we've had players get married to locals, and having great families, and end up some staying here, some not. But there's just been a lot of different things over the years that have come about because of Paints baseball one way or the other.
So, and you touched on, obviously, Chris, and you touched on Roger, but obviously they had a great impact on you. Roger picked up the phone, first of all, and then just working with Chris over the years and things like that. Talk a little bit about what they've meant to you and how you've gone through this.
There's still a lot of people that know that know Chris and work with Chris that call me Chris Jr. I couldn't have asked for a better mentor because and Shirley, I got to throw Shirley in there too.
Yeah.
But the attention to detail and just wanting to make sure we do it the right way. Always the right way, no matter what. If you just that is what I always and cleanliness. I guess I think one of the things, and some of this stuff might sound weird, but I mean I see a piece of gum wrapper or something on the ground, I got to pick it up.
Yeah.
Those little details like that, I think people may not, see, but that I've learned from him, his generosity. I tell you that there were a lot of times where I would go to Frontier League owners meetings with him, and he had the room. He had the room, and it's, what does Chris think? And there were a lot of times where he, as the president of the league, there were times early on when it was us and the West Virginia Coal Sox and the team down in Parkersburg and Lancaster Scouts, and early on when those, there were times where Dr. Hanners kept this league afloat because he actually paid the players.
Yeah.
He paid the bus bill for them to get to Chillicothe. Those things that nobody knew, that he just did it because he knew that it was going to, at the end of the day, it was going to help Chillicothe. Now, whatever, 30 years later, the Frontier League is still doing pretty well.
Yeah.
So, I'm very appreciative. He's like my second dad. I don't get to see him as much as I used to, just for the reasons I had stated earlier. He travels a lot, and, he's probably 2 or 3 days in a dental office now, but, he's, I wouldn't have anything that I have now if it wasn't for Chris, and for the most part, Shirley too.
Yeah. Yeah. Who are some of the more noted characters or players that you remember and that you're like, wow, I got to see this guy play, or maybe maybe they're just a joker off the field.
Yeah,
maybe that was fun.
There's times where, Brian Tolberg right off the bat.
Yeah.
In '94, we both started the same time. I started as an intern. He was on that team. We were not very good in '94. It just seemed like the odd years, 95, 97, 99, we weren't very good. But Brian Tolberg, for one, and I still talk to him to this day. I had the opportunity, and he's been gracious enough for allow my 16-year-old left-handed pitcher to come down and work with him.
Nice.
He is one of the assistant coaches to the #1 team in the country down in Florida.
Oh,
wow. Down in Tampa, he runs a facility. So Brian Tolberg and I it's always Gator, Mitch, and Scott to me. 98 was the best team that I've ever seen in baseball at this level, whether it was in the Frontier League or whatever. I got to see it every night, and we just came short to winning a championship, and Springfield, Illinois got it. But I still talk to Gator every once in a while. Mitch I think is maybe still be in Virginia somewhere, but I miss those guys. Those guys were quality guys. A guy like Brian Colopy, who was at Ohio University and played for us, had some clutch hits. Andrew C. Two OU guys. Brian Colopy runs 2 franchises in the Northwoods League and a collegiate league. Andrew C., the pitching coach at Clemson now. We a lot of relationships, and what I remember a lot too is I would have never got to meet Pete Rose. I would have never got to meet King Griffey Sr.,
Marty
Brenneman,
Chris Sabo.
Chris Sabo.
Yeah.
What was the guy the guy that threw the perfect game?
Tom Browning.
Tom Browning flying his helicopter right next. I'll never forget, the police never came faster when a helicopter lands right next to the stadium. And didn't have permission. He comes off of that plane like, what? I didn't know I wasn't allowed to do this. Those are the kind of things that I remember. Those I mean, I should have wrote a book. I honestly should have. I probably had enough to write 2 books, but the off-field stuff, the times of the players at the dock at water at night. I mean, just some of those things that you always just remember, that just the experiences of things that you never forget. But like I said, the people that you meet through this, and not just in Chillicothe, over the years, just in different towns and stuff, and meeting different mayors and different people like that, and be able to carry relationships like that for the rest of your life is pretty cool.
When you look at the Prospect League, and obviously, it's a little tough to gauge this right now because we're coming off a lost year, and so this year is going to feel like we're starting over to a certain degree. How do you feel about the strength of the Prospect League now as opposed to when you got it in 2015? And summer collegiate leagues are kind of cool because they're based on the fact that these kids want to keep playing and keep getting better. But they're always a little bit of a precarious balance. They kind of come and go from something, and you see mergers.
And there's never
a lot.
been more, and there's never been more collegiate summer leagues.
Yeah,
I mean Major League Baseball has their own league now. It's called the Draft League.
Yeah.
I will tell you, back when we started, the league started with Chillicothe. The Prospect League did. When we decided we just couldn't hang in a Frontier League anymore, how can we keep baseball in Chillicothe? So, okay, well, there's only a few college summer leagues around. Let's think about having college kids. A lot less expense. Workers' comp was killing us. So forth and so on. So we started in 2009 the Prospect League, and we could only find five teams, us and 4 other ones. And there were a couple of Richmond, Indiana. There were a couple of old Frontier League teams, and so we had to join forces with the Central Illinois Collegiate League, the CICL, that had been around for Mike Schmidt and those guys. They played in that league, and so we merged, and in 2009 started the league, and had a lot of, we're at 16 teams right now. We've never been at 16 teams ever. The most we had was 12. We were at 11 a lot. There were times where, I don't know if we're going to be able to make this happen. I don't know if we're going to have enough teams to make it. And honestly, in a weird way, COVID has helped us, because we gained 2 minor league teams that end up having to fold out of minor league baseball, that kind of got kicked out of minor league baseball, and the 2 teams in Iowa, Clinton and Burlington, that didn't help us geographically with Chillicothe, but added a lot of strength and just 2 great facilities in our league by having them on the west side. Got to have Johnstown, Pennsylvania back. We had them in the Frontier League. Used to love playing those guys. Now they saw an opportunity where they had sat dormant for a while without baseball, and COVID kind of kickstarted that back up, and they're in our league. So to answer your question, the league has never been stronger. We're at 16 teams. We honestly will probably be at 18 or 20 next year. Could be 24 in about 4 years. We still have a lot of interest in a lot of different towns throughout the Midwest footprint that we're in. We're trying to. The problem with the East is over here is there's just no facilities.
Right.
Yeah.
We're hoping Marshall builds their facility. We're hoping that Canton can bring back baseball in Canton, Ohio, that we used to play in the Frontier League. It's just a lack of facilities, new ones specifically, that makes it tough for us over in Ohio. But Champion City makes it a nice commute for us in Springfield, Ohio. It's about an hour commute. But I'm really looking forward to the future of our league, because it's going to just keep growing.
That's pretty exciting to hear that there's, I mean, we've heard for years that Little League baseball was falling off, but this kind of disproves that.
Oh, I think 100%.
Yeah.
I never thought that either.
Yeah.
I never thought that Little League was. I thought there was more and more Little Leagues. Travel
I
baseball's
was going
never
to say
been better.
that's the bigger one.
Travel baseball's never been, and they start them at 6-7 years old.
Yeah.
And we've got a tremendous Little League here in town. We have multiple Little Leagues in town, and there's no lack of participants for kids. We got the City League, we got Soda Valley Youth League. I mean, they started playing middle-aged ball down in at the Ross County Park. I mean, there's a lot of baseball just in Ross County.
Yeah.
The numbers are definitely up.
Yeah, I think the actual Little League program, let's say, may be in decline, but that's because it's much more diverse now.
Right.
I think you mentioned earlier, just like, the league is getting bigger. It's kind of the same way. When you have more travel teams, that's, a lot of parents are going to say it's either travel ball or playing in town.
Mm-hmm.
And rightfully so. I think you can burn a kid out real quick if he's playing 30 games in 4 months, it's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
So, and I know I talked to one dad whose son was going to play on a travel team, and he just said, "Nah, we're going to pull it back this year," and it was not a COVID decision. It was.
But you know what? They had that option.
Yeah.
There's enough baseball to be saying, well, I don't want to play travel, but I'm going to play in this league.
Yep.
But that option is there.
Right.
When we were kids, I don't remember. The Chillicothe Generals had just started, and nobody even knew really what it was, as far as travel baseball and playing in other states and staying with host families and I didn't do that. I ended up playing Legion ball, but those opportunities were there when I was playing.
Yeah.
When I was little.
Yeah. Well, I think the greatness of the Paints is that it's a major league franchise in the way it's run and the way that people get to experience it. It may be a summer collegiate league, but you guys treat it like every person that's walking in there has a PSL or, paid $10,000 for their season tickets. And I think that's a great tribute to you folks. I think, just the fun atmosphere that even going back as far as the dirtiest car in the parking lot and the foul ball that is like, hey, that foul ball is sponsored by somebody's collision.
Yep.
It's just a fun atmosphere, So talk a little bit about 2021. We're getting ready to start the season here. Obviously, we're back, baby, and that's
sure.
A great thing.
And honestly, that's and Dan Ramey's we cut a radio spot today, and that's pretty much what it is. We're back. Next Thursday. I don't know when this starts, when you're going to air this, but
we'll be out before next Thursday.
Okay, so May 27th is opening night, and we're looking forward to it. We might be a little light on the baseball side of things, as far as what we gonna have on the field, but as we get going in June, we're going to be just fine. But we start off with our fireworks on Thursday night, May 27th, and it's also Dollar Beer Night. So we play, which we've never done before. We start up with 4 in a row at home. So we're home Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And we have some really cool giveaways lined up this year. Our T-shirt night that's always popular. We're going to have that at the end of June. We have our Veterans Appreciation Night, which is 4,000 to 5,000 people on as long as we have good weather. That's going to be on July 9th. We have our youth clinic in the middle of July. We got our Diamond Dog Night on July 13th. We have a couple Party with the Paints this year, one in June and one in July. One of the things that I'm really Fan Appreciation Night on July 30th. One of the things that I think that everybody's going to think is really, really cool, and we almost didn't get it done. And Michael, you know this guy, but so North Fork Animal Clinic, Dr. Lloyd texts me. We're pretty close, and I take both my dogs there, and I love my dogs to death, so I wouldn't take them anywhere else. But so I'm actually a North Fork Animal Clinic person, but so he called me because he texted me and he says, "Hey, what can really? I want to pack the place." He said, "We've been off for a year. So what do you think?" I said, "Well, I've been struggling with this. It's really expensive giveaway. It's just I can't pull the trigger on it. I just am struggling." He goes, "What is it?" So I sent him a picture and he goes, "Oh, dude, we got to do this." He said, "We have to do this. I don't care.
This totally sounds like him.
Let's get it done." He goes, "I want to pack the place. Do you think it'll pack a place?" I'm like, "Dude, we've never done anything like this before." So he goes, whatever, we'll figure it out. So on Saturday, July 31st, so the night before our last regular season home game, we're actually giving away a replica 2019 championship ring to the first 500 people.
Nice.
And you could wear it. I mean, they're not just something you can, and have a nice display box and stuff. And it's real. It says Roll Paints. I mean, it looks just like our guys that got the championship ring. And so that's going to be a really, really cool giveaway that we've got next to last night on.
Will it come inside
31st.
a box with a video screen like the LA Dodgers?
No video screen, but it's a really nice display box and it's actually got a little stand for it so you can put it on a mantle or whatever. But it's the most expensive giveaway I've ever given away.
Yeah.
And but it's really, really nice. I'm looking forward to having that. But so Dr. Lloyd, thank you for allowing us to do this. But so that'll be fun. But so we're looking forward to it. We've got 30 home games spread out, practically June to August, and we're really looking forward to getting back and just being out there with everybody again.
Yep. Well, I am too.
Yeah, me too. I'm dying to watch some baseball.
Literally, some of the most relaxing times of my night. Of my life have been at a Paints game, sitting in the stands, watching guys I really didn't know who they were, especially when I first got here. In fact, the first thing that I ever went to when I came to this town, before I even lived here, was a Paints game. And we sat actually in the visitor side. I don't think we knew which side was the home side or whatever. But literally, going to a Paints game to me is the best kind of pursuit in this town, because number one, it's baseball. Number two, the atmosphere is just great. You'll probably see a pretty good game while you're there. And you guys have just spent a lot of time making it a great experience.
And one of the things that I always say too, and the moms have a good time in it. You don't have to like baseball. Yeah. We're the three of us. I mean, we're different, but you don't have to like baseball. You can just want to come out with a coworker, a friend, a family member, and just chill out and just enjoy the atmosphere. The shade trees, the whatever, the music, whatever, the on-field promotions, the games, the whatever that might be that you just, the giveaway night, whatever that is, the inexpensive concession stands. There's a lot to like that, and you don't even have to like the game of baseball. And there might be the sixth inning, and you're like, man, I didn't even know what was going on or what the score was.
Yeah, or the game is over, and you're like, oh, it's done already?
Yep, who won? So it happens a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's such a great experience. Dads can take their kids, explain the game. You just have these great moments, and it happens right here in our hometown. It's fantastic.
Well, best of luck to the Paints. Best of luck to you, Bryan. It's not an easy task to run a baseball team, and certainly hasn't been over the last year. But, number one, just personally, I was so grateful when you came back to town and kind of was part of this new beginning for the Paints. And I just really have a great amount of respect for you and for the Paints organization, for Chris, and just best of luck to you guys in 2021 and all these great years ahead of us.
Well, thank you. Number one. Number two, I love both of you. I think the world of you. Both of you guys. You guys have the highest respect from me. I've always thought highly of both of you. I've known Marty a little longer, but I love both of you. I appreciate both of you. You guys do a lot for the community as well in both your works of life. So I appreciate it. We're really just looking forward to, just like I said, the bottom line is just getting out there and having fun with everybody again.
Yeah.
That's what we're all looking forward to.
Baseball's back.
That's right. Thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God.
They turn on the light.
You've been listening to the Feels Like Home podcast with Mike Throne and Marty Ford.
We don't deserve it. It feels a little strange, but I don't feel alone. We just settled in and it already feels like home. Feels like home. Feels like